Hi, yes, hello everybody. Been a while, I'll admit. Done a couple of gaming videos since the new year, but as I said in my last videos that were specific to the old Flat Earth thing, not a lot of inspiration. The final experiment really has nailed the coffin, and final nail in the coffin, whatever the expression is, regarding Flat Earth, and everybody else is just playing desperate cat up. There is one guy who I have spotted who is so crap, I'm going to have to do a video about him. But that's not what I'm here for today. Today I'm here for something else. And the title of the video will probably give you a clue. And it's something it's easier to talk about now than it was when it was happening. I'm sure if anybody else has been through this in various stages of what it is, then you'll know where I'm coming from. The subject of the video is, of course, possibility I may have led myself down the path of alcoholism. Now, I don't say that flippantly, because looking into it, obviously, hindsight is 2020. Looking into it, was I going down that path? Was I that far gone? Possibly. So signs were there, which I can now recognise. That's not to say I didn't recognise them when it was going on. It was just willful ignorance on my own part. You know, you can kind of see the not the point of view, but the failings of, conspiracy theorists, flat earthers, space deniers, that kind of thing, where they can look into themselves and say, I know I'm wrong, but it's easy for me to say I'm right. Or in my case, for what I'm talking about now, is that I knew something was up, but I didn't really want to admit it because I was enjoying myself at the time, if you get me. So basically, the I looked into it a little bit more than not at all, which is a line I keep stealing from Red Letter Media. I think it was Star Wars Episode 3. Looking to Palpatine rather than not at all, that kind of thing. Anyway, back to Star Wars. So, like I said, I can talk about this easier now because it's not happening. And I think that's the same, or can be said for a lot of people who in my situation, who get through a certain point and think, yeah, maybe I was this, I was that. Now, I have known a couple of people who were full-blown alcoholics. I'm not going to say who, but one of them was, it was an ex-girlfriend's mum who doesn't watch my channel, so she won't know I don't think she watches my channel. If she does, hi. It's been a while. But her mother who sadly passed on quite recently, actually. But it was a case of some of the symptoms that are quite glaring. And I'm going to run through some of the symptoms because obviously a lot of alcoholism can be denial. And it is basically, so I don't have a problem, I can stop whenever I like. It's the same as kind of smoking, any kind of addiction. I'm fine, I can stop whenever I want. And then it turns out you actually can't. And you catch yourself in a couple of instances thinking, shit, maybe this might be a bit bad. But then you skip over that, ignore it, and then just carry on anyway. And you think, no, I'm fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm got a website, Priory Group. I think booking into the Priory, these celebrities. I think Ben Affleck was Ben Affleck was a co-inhabitant, or what do they call it? Client of the Priory, years and years ago. And Jason Mewes, as in Jay Snoochie Boochies from Jay and Silent Bob, was also booked in at the same time by Kevin Smith. If you've read the book Silent Bob Speaks, there's a whole section at the back is devoted to Jason Mewes and his struggles with addiction. And I don't know the guy, but if you look at him on Facebook now, he has progressed so far. So proud of the guy. So Snoochie Boochies, man, if you're there, loving it. So what I'll do, without any further ado, I'll just crack on. I'll try to do minimum editing on this. So I just want to get this out there. So my situation is, basically, I worked in a hotel, and that's a comical joke at where I work now, because apparently I talk about working at the hotel a lot. I don't. I talk about all my other jobs in equal measures because I had a lot of life experience at the hotel, and it put me in good stead for the customer service industry I'm in now. It gave me a lot of grounding. But one thing the hotel did have, and I can say this now because I'm not employed there, was it had a bar. Obviously, it had a pub. But it was actually a 15th century weaver's cottage. It's still there. It's a Holiday Inn now. It was a post house. It's a Holiday Inn now because post house, whatever, went up this morning. But I used to work nights, and if I was working on my own, I'd actually come in early, about 2 hours early, get all my work done because I was due to start at 11. And then when the transition handover had happened, everybody went home at 11:30. I was on my own. If customers came down, they needed any kind of service in the bar because we had a 24-hour bar for some reason, because we weren't taking money, it was a legal loophole. But if the bar was quiet, I'd have a couple of pints myself. And sometimes it wouldn't be a couple, it would be a bit more because there was nothing else to do. I had a big TV in the bar. I'd hook up the VHS player, watch the in-house movies, which we weren't supposed to do. All these rules I was breaking. I was just sat there in the bar, having a pint, smoking as well. Just enjoying myself, chilling out until about 5 o'clock in the morning. At which time I probably had 5 or 6 pints overnight when I was supposed to be working. So, like I say, this is proper confession time. And then I'd hand over. Obviously, now aware, I was absolutely reeking of alcohol. Because I had 5 pints. I'd only finished drinking 2 hours before the handover. But again, it was one of the things I was doing in private and on my own. But because of that, even though I progressed further in other jobs, the next jobs I had were better paid. So I had more disposable income, and so that went into like weekend drinking, which is basically Friday night, Saturday night, possibly Sunday, possibly Thursday, because Thursday's close to the weekend, and that's a reason to drink. I'll get into this in a second. So, what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to run through these point by point, because, again, if you've followed the tags or what have you, and you're in this boat yourself, you think you may be in this boat yourself, hopefully this will help. This isn't a PSA or anything like that, but I'm going to go through this and recognise the symptoms I saw in myself, because like I say, I'm 3 months out of it. I haven't had an alcoholic drink. I had my last beer, as in Carling, which is my drink of choice, on New Year's Eve. I finished off a crate. I'll get to that later. And I think a day late, 1st and 2nd of January, I had what was left over of a bottle of Southern Comfort, which was my Christmas tipple of choice. Finished that, and I haven't had anything since. And more importantly, I haven't wanted to have anything since. It's Saturday night. I'm not working tomorrow. I've got money in my bank account, and I haven't got any booze on me. That's a personal achievement on my part, but it's the end of this story. So I keep on skipping ahead of myself, and I do apologise. So what I'm going to do, I've got on the Priory website, I will put all the links down below. Everything I talk about, I'll find out some help groups and things like that. I think this is American, but alcoholism is alcoholism. So, did I get close? Let's have a look. What is a functioning alcoholic? High functioning alcoholics or functioning alcoholic are colloquial terms for someone who's dependent on alcohol but is still able to function relatively effectively in their daily life, which is what I was doing. They'll be able to continue doing many of their daily tasks like going to work and looking after family members. Ditto. The term functioning alcoholic isn't a medical diagnosis. People who experience this might probably be referred to as sufferers of alcohol use disorder, and if their symptoms don't include a breakdown of their professional, social, or family life, which are common signs of alcoholism. I will, if I remember, I'll touch on that. It wasn't a factor in my separation from Annie. It was just something completely separate. But anyway, I'll get onto it. You might hear the term currently functioning used to emphasise that a person's ability to function right now is unlikely to last. Alcohol addiction can have a devastating effect on someone's life, but how long it takes someone's drinking problem to affect their daily functioning will differ from person to person. Now, I'm a bit of a misnomer on that one because while I was drinking a stupidly large amount, I still did have it under control to a certain degree. As you know, apart from I'm working mainly sales now, but I drive a truck as well. I'm a fully qualified HGV driver. I've got a HIAB license. I've got qualifications coming up my backside of all various facets of the work I do. But I knew that if I was going to be driving on the Monday, I wouldn't have anything on the Sunday night. If I was working on a Saturday morning, might have a few on the Friday night, but nothing too much. Saturday night, blowout. Because Sunday, nothing happens. Yeah, but anyway, carry on. The picture of someone struggling with alcohol abuse disorder is often one where people struggle to live life normally as they battle a dependency on alcohol. For many people struggling with addiction, this is true, but for someone with functioning alcoholism, this isn't the case. So alcohol abuse can sometimes be confusing and difficult to spot, especially if a person appears to be capable of doing everything they need to maintain core aspects of their lives. They may perform well at work, have a pristine appearance, I try my best, and enjoy an active social life. While they may seem okay to the outside world, it's likely they're warning signs and symptoms of appearing elsewhere. I think there is something else on this list which I'll touch on too. Some of the most common signs of a functioning alcoholic include the following: drinking heavily and excessively, yes. Drinking alone, secretly, or at unconventional times. So I got into the habit, excuse me, so I'll do those first two, drinking excessively and heavily. I don't think it's mentioned here, but it is, a sign of it is, it might be on the NHS one, the sign of it is nothing during the week and going absolutely getting blot out at the weekend, as I kind of mentioned before. So you can go a whole week of being sober, and then Friday, Saturday night, if you're not working the following morning, getting absolutely wankered, which is a British term. I don't know what the American, Americans would call it, but no, yeah, getting absolutely wankered, naffed up or whatever. So the amounts I would drink. Tesco's, which isn't that far from here, which is a local British supermarket, often have what they call club card, which is like a loyalty deal, club card deals. So you get a crate of 18 cans of lager, so it's 18 440 millilitres, or 18 times 2 units, so 36 units in a crate, for £12, which is ridiculously cheap, and possibly the reason the British pub is dying, because what's the point of going to the pub and spending £5 on a pint, as I found out when I took Luke out for his 18th birthday? Jesus Christ. 4 pints is 20 quid. For 4 pints, actually no, for 2 and a bit pints, you can get 18 cans. No wonder people are drinking a lot. Well, I was anyway. So I would get a crate of 18, and I could easily drink 9, 10 cans an evening. Unconventional times secretly. Well, as I say, I'm living on my own now, so I just had carte blanche for a year, just to drink what I wanted when I wanted, and there was nothing to stop me apart from myself. Secretly, yes, when I was still living at the house with the family, I used to go out on a Friday night and I'd go to the cinema, but on the way back I'd pop off at Tesco's and I'd get 3 large bottles of something like Heineken, probably not Stella, because Stella made my mouth dry, probably Heineken, and I would drink those sitting in bed with my laptop, okay, because I was just chilling down for the rest of the night. Unconventional times, yeah, when I was drinking, like I can take it back to like last November, last December, I'd have my fridge, it's right here, because I'm in like a single room, so the beer would be there, quite easy, got beer here, TV here, computer here, life of Riley. But I wouldn't start drinking till like 10 o'clock in the evening, which is really weird, but because I was going to watch films, I was going to watch whatever. I'm really heavily into anime at the moment. Tom Chandler's Girl is my favourite. But I'd start drinking really quite late because I wanted to go on, and I wouldn't stop drinking until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I wouldn't stop drinking until I'd had the 9th or 10th pint. Well, it's not a pint. If we're going to get into semantics, I'd fill up a pint glass up to about here, lemonade, which is a southern soft girly thing, but it's called a top, which is something completely different in certain circles, I know. Lemonade up the top. So you could call it a pint, it's not quite a pint. It was only 440 millilitres in the cans. A pint is 568, if you want to get semantic about it. But still, 9, 10 cans, still not good. And so I'd want to be drinking until whatever was watching had finished, or I got to a certain point where that'll do for tonight. But it usually was until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, drinking alone secretly or unconventional times, think that qualifies. Justifying their drinking as being a reward or celebration. Oh, I've been a good boy. I didn't have any drink yesterday. I'm not driving tomorrow, and I haven't got to be up till 9 o'clock. That's cause for celebration. Really does come down to desperately seeking for a justification to have some more beer, which is not a good thing to do. So that one, again, qualifies. Claiming they drink expensive alcohol to prove they don't have an addiction. No. I have to say, that's actually, if that's a factual thing, that really is a little bit on the desperate side. Or I only drink because I drink the finest Pinot Noir, or I was going to say Chateaubriand, but that's something completely different. Drinking expensive stuff doesn't make any difference. Alcohol is alcohol. Cheap, cans of Carling is at 4%, is the same as an expensive can of lager at 4%. Being unable to socialise without alcohol and with avoiding social scenarios without alcohol. Back in the day, maybe, if I was going out, the problem I had with that was, which probably trained me the way I am, was because I live so far away, I had to drive. If the guys at work, well, we're going out to the pub tonight, do you want to come? Okay, I'll have one, then I'll be on Diet Coke, because I've got to drive 5 miles, 15 minutes home later that evening. So even though I was still, if I would live locally, I would have got Blotto. But back in my youth, yeah, if it was going out or, staff dues, work dues, things like that, having alcohol was part of that. It wasn't like as you're here, you can also have a drink. Says, no, I'm going out, but have a drink, and then the party get together is secondary. Now, personally, I know I've got this bloody mirrored. I know I have this, I'm here now and I'm fine. I'm talking to you, whoever's watching, but I'm actually quite introverted when I'm outside in public. There was a personal hurdle I have to jump over to talk to a stranger, but normally that's in exceptional circumstances, and I like to think I'm getting over that barrier. But generally, it used to be a choice of if I had a choice of staying home or did you want to come out, I would probably stay at home. So that one possibly 50-50. Experiencing blackouts, struggling to remember previous nights or days as a result of heavy drinking. As far as this extends to me, the last time I got proper helpless drunk was, when I worked at the hotel and we were on the tequila. I have not had tequila since that day, which was over. Well, it's got to be over 25 years ago. So, quite bad. I got amazingly drunk because the thing with tequila shots is you the slam as well, the lemonade and the salt and all this the other. You do 3 or 4 and then it kicks in. And next thing you know, you're being dragged across a garden with no shoes on. It's damp. Your socks are getting soaked and they're making you touch a tree to make sure you're still conscious. Then you find a bed to get comfy in. And then they say, no, you can't fall asleep because otherwise you'll throw up. But it was a very comfy bed. Ended up on the floor, I think, that evening. But anyway, this is like systemic. But this is years ago. This is 12 years ago. But what that extended to with me in my current form was watching a movie, finishing drinking, going to bed, waking up in the morning and thinking, did I finish that film? Did I get to the end of that film? I think the most recent one I can remember was Ruse de Guerre, which was a Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham. Was it The Rock? Aubrey Plaza's in it. And I must have started watching that really quite late at night into the evening, because when I woke up the following morning, I'd completely forgotten about it. I'd recently got Amazon Prime. That was it. And a couple of hours later, this Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre. Yeah, Jason Statham, Aubrey Plaza, Hugh Grant's in it, because it's a Guy Ritchie film. And I started watching it, and I'm like, I've seen this. I know I've seen this. I got all the way to the end of the film thinking, I remember this scene. Ashton Kutcher, he was in it, and he turned out to be quite good. I remembered all the film going through without remembering watching the film, which is a bizarre concept, but it's actually what happened. I watched the film twice, and I enjoyed it more the second time because I was sober and I could remember what the hell was going on. So yeah, as far as that goes, it's starting drinking late, starting watching something late because I procrastinate a lot on here, which is an ADHD thing, which is probably not good bedfellows with drinking a lot. And so completely forgetting, and then watching the last 10 minutes of the movie, then following morning, oh yeah, I do remember, but let's watch it again so I actually can say I remember. This one not so much. Using alcohol to help deal with stress, anxiety, trauma, depression or loss. Not in my case. Now, I've never been one to drink my way out of stress. I have been in very, very stressful situations. Personally stressful. I'm going to go into one of them was when My wife and I separated, but there was something else that happened 20 something years ago. I won't go into it, but it was such a stressful experience for me that I stopped drinking altogether. I slept a lot and I didn't eat a lot. I personally then reconciled not drinking with losing a lot of weight suddenly, but apparently that was just the stress. I haven't drunk anything since the 2nd of January, and I'm still a chunky boy. So I've got to work on that. But that one doesn't apply to me because I have had some amazingly stressful situations, but I've never associated getting drunk to deal with it. My mantra now is it's never as bad as you think. It's a little bit hippified, but you can go, and when I say I went through something stressful 20-some years ago, you have no idea how stressful. And I'm not going to go into it because it's indescribably personal. But it was contemplating very dark things and going to very dark places stressful. But at no point was alcohol a crutch at that point. And I waited it out, things came to pass, and it boiled down to nothing. And again with my separation with Annie, my ex-wife, that when it first started to come to pass again, then yeah, the not drinking, the sleeping too much, not eating a lot came in, a couple of panic attacks, but again, and then there came the time to move out, and I was getting all stressed, all have the money, this, that, and the other. All these various elements are coming together, and right here and now, I'm the less stressed I've ever been in my life. Still on very good terms with my ex. She's actually doing a half marathon tomorrow. I'm taking the boys out to lunch. So crazy woman. She's got the running bug a few years ago, and she hasn't stopped. And she's literally doing 30 miles at a time now. Insane woman. She must have been insane. She put up with me for 20 something bloody years. So my mantra is it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, unless you brought it upon yourself. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think you know what I'm coming on. So with me, stress, anxiety, no. Alcohol was not a factor. In fact, I knew that little smart bit in my brain that wouldn't let go said, no, don't drink because you'll only make it worse. Making jokes or having a flippant attitude about their heavy drinking, or getting defensive and angry if they're challenged about it. I was just ignorant. And, oh no, I'm not drinking. I think my brother may have mentioned to my mum a while ago that he was concerned about how much I was drinking. But that may have just been his idea, because, like I say, when I was drinking, I was doing it in private. And if I was drinking in public, I wasn't drinking a lot. I used to go to a pub, as you know, the pub is no longer a pub, it's a block of flats, like most of the places around here. And if I was drinking, I was also playing pool, I was talking to people, I was socialising. So I'd only have 3 or 4 pints a night. I wasn't a really heavy drinker because I had so much time socialising back when I had friends. But now, flippant attitude about heavy drinking, not really. Don't think that one applies to me. Getting challenged, angry and defensive if they're challenged about it, no. I'll just basically just say, no, I'm not drinking. I might have 1 or 2 at the weekend. I have high blood pressure, which is probably why I have a pink hue today. I'm on amlodipine for hypertension, but I'm working on it. So I've got to have another strap put on my arm to monitor at some point. I've got to get that done. But if I had to fill out any medical forms, like when I had my nose operation last March, remember that? How many units of alcohol do you have a week? 4. Just 4. Not the, was it 1836 I was having over a weekend, if not more. So not only was I lying to myself in that regard, but I was lying on medical documents. In preparation for having an operation. When I had really bad toothache last year, I had to have a wisdom tooth got really badly infected. I was on antibiotics. I cut the antibiotic course short because the pain went, and I could start drinking again. And that one doesn't really qualify. Wasn't getting defensive angry, just getting, don't worry about it. Making jokes, having a flippant attitude. There, so possibly. Becoming aggressive, short-tempered and impulsive after drinking. I'm happy to say never. Never, never, never. I'm not an angry drunk. I'm not my dad. Fell asleep. Because my dad, God rest his soul, and I'm an atheist, he used to drink a lot. And I'd drive him home. And when I was going out with my first girlfriend, who I mentioned earlier, we'd basically sleep on the sofa while my brother and his girlfriend slept in the room upstairs, because my older brother and I shared a room, even though we were getting on in years, like 18, 19, 20. And there's me and my ex sat on the sofa waiting for my dad, and he's like, Dad, you going to go to bed? Yeah. Dad, you going to bed? Yeah. He'd have a cup of tea there, and he'd balance it, and he wouldn't spill it. It was quite remarkable, really. But eventually he'd get off. Yeah, so that was me. Drink too much, sleep. The thing about sleeping on alcohol is, if you have too much, even though I still felt myself quite compos mentis, you don't have the proper sleep. If you're drinking alcohol to get to sleep, when you do sleep, you're not sleeping properly. One of the pains of being completely sober for 3 months now is I'm waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a weekend, and I'm getting up. I used to love my lay-ins. 11 o'clock, half to 11, 12, I'll just lay there and mooch. I'm waking up at 8 o'clock. I'm just sat laying there. I might as well get up now. So I get up and start doing stuff. I'm getting amazingly productive, and it's depressing as hell. Drink again. Right. So, aggressive, short-tempered, and impulsive after drinking. Not me, just sleepy. Storing alcohol in secret places such as car sheds, clothes, or garage. Me, no. But apart from the odd, like as I go to the cinema, where I'd bring the bottles home, I'd sneak them upstairs, and I'd also sneak them because we had a camera doorbell, and this is all the hiding thing. We had a front door camera, and I used to just put it in a bag. There's no alcohol in here, that kind of thing. Put it in my rucksack. I always take. My ex's mother, she would hide bottles of vodka down the side of the sofa cushions. So I did a bit, and another thing I had was here, because the room I'm in, this, as I said, this is the HMO. The room I'm in, the fuse box is underneath my TV, right in there. So the landlord explained this to me when I moved in, said there may be situations where we have to come into the room to flick the switch if something trips. I said, that's fine, just let me know. I tried to keep the place tidy. But if I've been drinking, I have the crate down there, right in the corner. I made a bay window behind me here. Crate down there, empty cans in there, and hide it. So I was kind of ashamed of my drinking and signs of drinking. So that one does indeed qualify. Becoming irritable and restless if they're unable to drink for a day or two. Not really, because like I said, during the week I was fine, weekend not so much. But when the annoying thing was, I'd conditioned myself, this is going to come up next. I think I might actually put these together. An increasing tolerance to alcohol, meaning they need to drink more and more alcohol to feel any of the effects of alcohol. So I'd conditioned myself to do at least 8-9 cans, 440ml, 4% lager per evening. And this came in crates of 18. However, if I had 10 on a Friday, I would want 10 again on a Saturday, as long as I wasn't doing anything on a Sunday. But they only come in crates of 18, so I would have to go up. Apart from buying a big old box, I'd buy another 4. So I could have the extra 2, and then have the 2 on the Sunday. But the 2 would be enough, because I'm working the next day, but I'm not driving, and I'm walking, I'll get another 4. So then I can have 6, and I'll be fine. Because if I start early, see how it works. Making excuses, making reasons to celebrate. Well, kind of. So I was getting up to 10 in the evening. Again, just drink, like I said, need to drink more and more alcohol to finish it. It wasn't really the effects of the alcohol that made me drink. It was just the act of drinking. Literally, down, down, down. I could possibly do my first pint in possibly 3 or 4 minutes. Fridge, next pint. Lemonade dash done. They experience some withdrawal symptoms when they stop drinking, such as nausea, headaches, fatigue. No. Sorry, I'll read this I will properly, do it justice. They experience some withdrawal symptoms when they stop drinking, such as nausea, headaches, fatigue, shaking, shivering, and vivid dreams. Vivid dreams, again, is the what I said earlier about REM sleep. When you drink on alcohol, when you sleep on alcohol, you're not sleeping properly. You don't achieve the proper REM sleep, which you need to recharge your brain. The vivid dreams after stopping is basically your brain saying, "Oh, look, I'm having some proper sleep. Let's throw some dreams in there, running down the street with no clothes on, that kind of thing." I don't have many dreams like that anymore. So yeah, looking for all those, I'm probably 75% of those, or I was. So functioning alcoholics, I'm just going to read through this. Functioning alcoholics in denial. Well, many people who struggle from alcohol use disorder struggle to acknowledge they've developed a dependence on the substance. This is usually true of functioning alcoholics, especially true. Unlike some sufferers whose lives have been severely damaged due to alcohol, high-functioning alcoholics may not be able to see significant consequences for their drinking, which is where I was. So I blast out at the weekend, Monday, absolutely fine, all the way through the week, no consequences. I was drunk in my own personal time. I didn't affect anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. I might have done some damage to my liver, as I heard the silent inward screaming. But in my work life, nothing there at all. So this level of denial may be very difficult to overcome and makes it difficult to a loved one to get through to the functioning alcoholic. Now, I'm in the situation, obviously. I recognise this in myself. I was alert and awake enough to know at a point I had to do something about it. Now, again, I consider myself quite lucky in that regard that I just stopped. I also did this when I stopped smoking. I used to smoke 20 a day. Back when it was affordable. I finished smoking around March 1998. I started smoking when I was 15, so that would be 1988. Peer pressure, all my kids, all the lads were smoking. Yeah, it's really cool. And this was back when it was £1.50 for a pack of 20. But if you got it from a vending machine, it was £1.50 for a pack of 16, and they were all loose in the pack, and the tobacco fell out, was all shit. Anyway, but I smoked and smoked and smoked. And then one day I got home, because I, again, working at the hotel, working nights. And Annie was going off to work. She said, it's getting a bit expensive. This was back when it was £3.20, £3.30 for a pack of cigarettes. This was 1998. Can you think about stopping? I said, okay. I've just come off a night shift. I'll have the 3 I've got in my pack now. I'll watch a big breakfast. I'll have a cup of tea or a couple of cans. You know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And then I'll stop. So I had the 3 cigarettes, went to bed. Annie woke me up at 5, and I didn't smoke anymore. She bought me these Nicotinell or Nicorette patches to go on your arm. Made me sick as a dog. And I did one day, didn't bother anymore, and I stopped smoking. And it really was that simple. I don't know what it is in my head. Honestly, 20 a day constantly, and then I had the withdrawal, so I didn't have any cigarettes. So I didn't have any cigarettes with me. I get irritable and tetchy. Going back to what I recently said about the getting 18 crates, having 10 a night, and having to get some more. Sometimes even the act of having beer in the fridge would be enough to stop that little itch. And I say, no, I might not have a beer tonight, but I know I've got some, so I'm okay. Which is a bizarre concept, having beer, not drinking it, but that kind of being enough to be okay with not drinking, very, very strange. But then I'm a bit odd like that. So I think that's about the end of what I need to say here. So I'm going to post the links I can find. This one is the Priory. I know the NHS has got one. There's a lot here about alcohol and depression inextricably linked, with one often leading to the other. Genetics are thought to have some role in causing alcohol addiction. Not really. This is very, very social. Frequently exceeding the weekly recommended alcohol intake of 14 units a week. What did I say? 36 over a weekend? Yeah. How do I know I'm a functioning alcoholic? I'm smart and I know shit. So this is obviously, this article goes because they are the Priory, they are down to signing you up for things like that. So that was my little journey, and that was my way of recognising what I was going through and how I was affecting myself, and how I kind of got myself out of it. Again, I'm a little bit selfish and a little bit show-offy in saying that, yo, just stop like that. I know full well how difficult it is. I have a friend who I've known since secondary school, grammar school, Steve. He's going for the same. He is... Oh, crikey. I'm just going to bring up a page here so my screen might go really white because I want to know how far he's gone because he had it a little bit rougher than me. 9 months. Steve, well done, mate. Really proud of you. Started July the 7th last year and still going. So good for him. Well done you. Me, 3 months and counting. Not probably quite the arduous task that Steve had, but I'm still quite proud of myself. Just need to lose the weight, actually get myself off this chair and into a Stairmaster or something like that. But as I said, half the challenge is recognising. They say about the 5 stages of denial. The 5 stages of grief is also the 5 stages of acceptance in one. I know acceptance is the last part of grief, but there's recognising, bargaining, all this, that and the other. Bargaining is the celebrating, making spurious celebrations. Oh, it's Thursday, and I'm not working till late tonight, that kind of thing. I hope that some of what I've said, if you were curious before, has helped you recognise some of the elements. I don't think I was a full-blown functioning alcoholic, but I think I got bloody close. The sheer amount I was drinking, especially before Christmas when you had weeks off, I was buying a crate every 2 days and drinking a crate every 2 days. So, but then when I had to get back to work, stop, clear, nothing for 4 or 5 days, then back to drinking again. So the signs were there, but thankfully, and especially during the thing that was happening with my ex-wife. But again, I never used alcohol as a crutch to get me through that. What I had to get me through that was 2 amazing friends, 2 or 3 amazing friends who helped me go through that, and they got me through this as well. So I'm going to post loads of links below. So I'm sorry if I've waffled along, but this is just how I do. Again, if any of this rings true with you, have a look at the links I'm going to dig out and post below. USA or UK or wherever, just do a Google search, recognising the symptoms of a functioning alcoholic. There will be links, there will be support links and anything like that. Like I said, I'll get as much as I can. Fingers crossed I'll be doing another video soon. Like I said, there was another cretin I think I found, and it's just low-hanging fruit of the lowest order. So thanks very much for watching. If you've made it this far, this is a little bit of a soul-bearing episode, this one. But as I say, coming out of it, coming out the other side, it's so much easier to talk about it, and so much easier to admit the things you missed or the things you spotted in hindsight, that you are now happy to talk about because you're out the other side. And when you are out the other side, you can do things like this and help people who, not kind of any kind of guardian angel kind of thing, but spot the signs, and you can do something about it. And fingers crossed, if you do spot the signs and want to do something about it, you manage to do it as easily as I did. Okay, that will do for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. I know I say this every time. I'll do another video quite soon. I promise. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's whether or not I get the green screen up in time, because I need a better one, because this takes 10 minutes to set up. It's a pain in the arse. Thanks very much for watching. Love you and leave you, and bye-bye.